The reality is the vast majority of YouTube channels will never become financially successful. In fact, out of the 100 million YouTube creators, only 10 million have over 1,000 subscribers. That means if you have 1,000 subscribers or more, you're in the top 10% of all YouTube creators worldwide. The other 90 million, they never made it that far. In my over 10 years of creating content for YouTube, I have found that there are 5 main reasons why most YouTube channels fail, or really fail to grow a consistent income for the creator. And they have nothing to do with using the right camera or the best editing software, or even about knowing the latest changes to the algorithm. So today we're going to talk about the 5 things that might be really holding you back from seeing success on YouTube.
Using the exact right editing software is not going to make or break your success on YouTube, but editing is a really significant part of your workflow as a creator. And if it's something that you struggle with or just takes you a really long time to the point where it's affecting your consistency, then we would love to help you out. My team at Creatorly Media is actually currently accepting new YouTube clients, both for editing and strategy services. So you can check out all the details about that in the description.
And of course, welcome back to another coffee chat with Katie. Today, I am drinking a vanilla iced latte. I mean, it's actually really just cold brew from the grocery store and some oat milk. I'm not big on this cold brew, but it's so hot out. It's way too hot to make espresso. So as always, let me know what you're drinking in the comments and let's get into it. The first reason why most YouTube channels failed, you might have guessed this from the intro, but it's because they quit. I've seen this so many times throughout my life. I think a lot of people get this notion that it would be fun to be a YouTuber. They would like to start their own channel, but they have no idea what kind of work is involved. So once they kind of start and they try it out, they realize it's not for them, or it's much more work than they thought, and so they give up. Even people that have a good sense of what it takes to grow a YouTube channel going into it are liable to give up, because it does just take so much time and it can be so discouraging creating for an audience of 0 for as long as you need to in order to grow an audience of 1 and then eventually 100 and 1,000 and so on. Trust me, there were so many moments over the years since I started my YouTube channel in 2011 where I felt like quitting. I didn't actually hit 10,000 subscribers until 2019. So all of the years in between there was many times where I felt like turning off my camera and shutting down Premiere Pro and never opening it again. But here's the thing. I knew from a mindset perspective that the only way to kind of lock in your outcome, to guarantee a certain outcome, is to quit. Because I would say to myself, okay, if I quit right now, then I know for sure there's no future in which Katie is a full-time YouTuber. But if I keep posting, yeah, it's no guarantee that I will someday go viral or someday blow up and turn this into a job, but it at least keeps that possibility on the table. And so it's that little mind game that kept me going. It's like, as long as I keep trying, I keep this door open for myself. The moment I quit is the moment I close the door on this dream ever coming true. Honestly, I think a big part of this phenomenon is because so many YouTubers make this look so effortless, especially if you're a fan of watching YouTube content and you watch vlogs or something where it just feels like you're hanging out with a friend, then you really have no idea just how much work that creator is putting in to have their video feel like that. But honestly, that's kind of the power of movie magic. Like, it's the same thing with traditional movies. They say if you forget that you're watching a movie, that's a sign of a really good film, right? And it's the same with YouTube. If you can forget about the setting up the camera and the editing and all of that stuff, and you're really drawn into the story, it's because that YouTuber is doing a really good job. Basically, the best creators make it look easy, which means when you first get started, you have no idea how hard it's gonna be. Unfortunately, when it comes to this reason, I can't really give you like a magic tool or strategy to keep you from quitting. I think the best thing is just to remind yourself that if you quit, you guarantee that you won't see success on YouTube, but as long as you keep trying, you keep that possibility open. That's what helped me. Okay, the second reason, and this one might be controversial. YouTube channels fail because the creator is creating just for themselves and not for the audience. A lot of creators, myself included, start their channel thinking, I'm gonna create videos about everything that I'm interested in. And so their channel ends up being cooking tutorials, Dungeons and Dragons vlogs, commentary on their favorite movie musicals, Minecraft Let's Plays, and workout videos. Because that's everything they love watching, it's also the videos that they want to create. But the problem is you'll probably be hard pressed to find an audience that wants to watch cooking, D&D, Minecraft, and movie musicals content, especially all on the same channel. You might hear me saying all this and think this means that I'm telling you you need to have a niche. And that's not necessarily what I'm saying. I don't think you need to box yourself into a niche in the traditional sense, but I do think you need to have a purpose and some kind of unifying theme around your content. And that unifying theme is probably going to be your audience. If you want to be strategic and actually see growth on YouTube, you need to have some level of awareness of who is watching your videos, who might enjoy them, and what kind of other interests they have, because you don't need to necessarily be in this very specific niche, like only cooking videos or only Minecraft Let's Plays. If you have a really, really keen sense of who your audience is and what their adjacent interests might be, it allows you to expand into various things that will be relevant to them. But you can't just do a million different things, because that's just not really how YouTube works. If you're struggling with this because you're like, oh, I just want to post about whatever, really try to be honest with yourself and think about it from the perspective of a viewer. Like, how many channels do you subscribe to that post that variety of content? Probably you follow people for specific reasons, for a specific value they offer. And if you do follow like lifestyle creators who share some food content, some vlog content, some travel, it's probably because they have a similar vibe or mood or like message behind it all that resonates with you. Of course, I need to mention it's important that you're also creating stuff that you enjoy creating. You don't want to swing so hard to the other end of the spectrum that you're just completely optimizing yourself for the algorithm, because that's not going to be sustainable at all. You need to love what you make. Otherwise, you'll end up being a victim to reason number one, quitting. So I really think there needs to be a happy balance here. You need to have a sense of who your ideal audience is and what kind of stuff they're interested in watching, and then also an idea of what you're interested in making. And hopefully somewhere in that Venn diagram there's some overlap, and those are the videos that you really want to focus on creating. If you really have your heart set on creating that many different things, you might need to make a second channel, which is what I did. I think my channel is a good practical example of this, because I talk about a variety of things, but they're all very relevant to content creators. I talk about Instagram strategy, YouTube strategy, I talk about confidence tips, productivity. That's all very relevant to people who are content creators. But when I wanted to start making videos about living in a van and traveling, I tried introducing that to this channel and they did not perform very well, because it was just too different from the stuff that you all subscribed for. And so I created a second channel, and that is where my travel vlogs live now. TLDR of this point is you need to have some awareness of who your audience is, and one channel should really be targeted towards one audience. Even if there's a few different topics on that channel, it all needs to be relevant to the same kind of person. And you need to have some balance between what the audience is interested in and what you are interested in, because that's where you're going to find that longevity and that ability to be consistent over time. Okay, another area that you might be struggling in as a new YouTuber especially is editing your videos. In which case I really want to suggest a course from the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. As you're probably aware, Skillshare is an online learning platform full of thousands of classes for creative and curious people. Especially for being a YouTuber, I feel like there are just so many different skills that you need to master, from obviously camera operation to video editing, but also things you wouldn't expect, like graphic design for your thumbnails, SEO writing for your descriptions. But thankfully there is a course that covers all of these different topics on Skillshare. Specifically, I want to recommend Aaron Winter's course, which is called Vlogging for Business, Build Your Brand with Video. I think this is a great overview of all of the steps involved for building a successful YouTube channel. And there's so much more you can learn, because thankfully Skillshare has courses on all kinds of different topics, and the first 1,000 people that use the link in the description of my YouTube video are going to get 1 month free of Skillshare. So you'll be able to take Aaron's course and so many more, and they can help you master all of the various skills involved in becoming a successful YouTuber. So go check that out. Once again, the first 1,000 people will get 1 month free of Skillshare, and thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. All right, let's talk about reason number 3. And this one might surprise you, and it's that you're uploading for the sake of consistency alone. Now hear me out, because this one is a little bit more nuanced, and I know right away you're thinking, Katie, what are you talking about? It's so important to be consistent, and it is. But what is detrimental to your growth and your overall success as a YouTuber is hyper focusing on consistency to the point where you're not even concerned about the creative aspect or the connection with your community. You just basically become this like YouTube video factory. And I know that sounds abstract, but trust me, I have worked with clients over at Creatorly in the past, and I've talked with lots of creators who kind of see it this way, that just really think, okay, I need to do whatever I need to do to check this off my to-do list each week. They really see YouTube as just something to check off, push it out there. As long as I'm pushing out videos, I'm gonna see growth. But that's not really the case. YouTube takes a lot more intention and effort and thoughtfulness than just pressing upload. Like, you really need to think about, what value am I providing to my audience? Am I entertaining them? Am I providing some education? Like, would I personally sit and watch this video? I think that's a really good litmus test for it, because I think, again, people that do this often have not really been YouTube fans in the past. So they think, oh yeah, I'll just put a video out there, somebody will watch it. But like, you really need to ask yourself as a YouTube consumer, would I enjoy this? Or is this going to be boring, or is this not going to be something I'll click on? Because if that's the case, it's honestly not worth making. And to be totally real with you, this is where I get frustrated with coaches out there that teach just to use ChatGPT to script your videos, use AI to edit them, and use like whatever basic Canva template to just throw a thumbnail together. Will that achieve the checklist item of posting a YouTube video? Yeah, it will. You'll be able to say that you posted a YouTube video, but it's not necessarily going to get you the results that you want. And this is a struggle with people across social media. Like, we think too much about pleasing the algorithm of like, oh, the YouTube algorithm wants me to post once a week. That is just a completely wrong mindset. We need to think about the fact that there are actual human beings on the other end of the computer that are watching these videos, and you want them to be something that they are going to enjoy and actually take something away from. So I really think we need to get away from just this mindset of doing the absolute bare minimum to post as many videos as possible just for the sake of saying like, yeah, I posted it, I got it live, because that's not going to help you. You need to think about your YouTube video as a story or a piece of information or a message that you're sharing with a real person, and truly ask yourself and try to be honest with yourself, would I enjoy watching this? Because if you don't have the patience to watch it start to finish and actually enjoy it, why would you expect someone who has no idea who you are to have that patience, right? So we gotta try to put effort and energy and attention into our videos, not just make them for the sake of publishing once a week. Hopefully that wasn't too harsh, but let's move on to reason number 4, why YouTube channels often fail, and that is because the creator is a perfectionist. Okay, now this is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum from our last reason, but it's also super common. I feel like people kind of fall into 2 categories. Either you're the kind of person that's just pumping out videos without really thinking too much about it, or you're the kind of person that like thinks way too much about it. Basically, if you fall victim to reason number 3, then you're kind of over focusing on quantity over quality. And if you succumb to reason 4, perfectionism, it's basically because you're too focused on quality and not focused enough on just like getting it done. And now the real tea is you kind of need both quantity and quality to succeed on YouTube, and that's why it is so difficult, because you need to have the intention and the creativity and the storytelling and the ability to connect with your audience, but you also need to do that like really consistently. That's why it's so tough. But I really think if you get too caught up in the minute details and you agonize over like the littlest thing when you're editing your videos especially, you're really doing yourself a disservice. I think it's really easy for creators to become perfectionists around YouTube in particular, because it's like, it's your face, right? It really feels like you. Like, I feel like it's one of the most personal social platforms. So it feels like having a conversation with a person, and all of us, it's just a human thing. We want to represent ourselves in the best way. So even more so than just like a photo we post on Instagram or a blog post or a podcast, like we really want our YouTube videos to be a perfect representation of us. And the thing is, it is nerve-wracking to put yourself out there in this way. And so sometimes I think people misplace their nerves around showing up online as like, oh, the video's not quite right. We kind of use that as an excuse. Instead of saying like, I'm not ready yet to be on YouTube, we instead say like, oh, the video's not ready yet. It still needs some more tweaks. So I really want to encourage you, if you like have a video that you're sitting on because it's just not quite ready yet, try to investigate within yourself, like, is the video really not that good, or is it that you're kind of nervous to post it? The other thing that we need to acknowledge is like the only thing that can make you better at YouTube is practice. You kind of just need to take the leap. Your first video is not going to be perfect. Your 100th video is also not going to be perfect. Especially if you've been a big YouTube fan for a long time and you watch a lot of creators who have a lot of practice, you're going to have a certain taste level. And the reality is your ability level is not going to meet that. That's what Ira Glass, the host of This American Life, calls the artist gap. And I think that a lot of us experience that, and it's really true. Even after all this practice, I still feel like my videos aren't quite as good as they could be. I'm always like trying to improve them, make them more engaging, make them look more like the videos that I really admire from other creators. Very normal and natural to feel that that way, but it's not a reason to not post your videos because you got to get them out there. If you wait around till your videos are perfect, you're never gonna grow your YouTube channel. The challenge is really finding a happy medium between these two opposite poles. You don't want to just push content out unthinkingly for the sake of it, but you also don't want to agonize over every little detail. You need to meet in the middle somewhere and focus on quality, but also on consistency. The fifth and final reason is kind of a tricky one. It's a very nuanced mindset sort of thing, so hopefully you get where I'm coming from. The fifth reason why most YouTube channels fail is because the creator is stuck in a fan mentality. And look, this is something that I personally struggled with for a really long time. This is another trap that people who are big fans of YouTube often fall into when they make the leap and start becoming a creator. I was really deep in the YouTube fan world. I mean, I have been since I was like a young teenager. That's what inspired me to get started on this platform. I went to Buffer Festival to meet my fave creators. I went to VidCon and I fangirled over the people that I was meeting. And because I was so entrenched in my fan identity at the time, I think I had a hard time fully embracing the idea that I could also be a creator, a peer to these people. And I think that thinking this way can just really hold you back from taking yourself seriously as a creator and knowing that you deserve to get the views, the brand deals, to collaborate with others, and to have fans yourself. So I really just want you, if you feel like you're in this same mindset, to embrace the fact that you're a creator too. And ultimately, we're all just people. I mean, it's funny to me now thinking back to the people that I like really fangirled over because they were so famous and they probably had less subscribers than I do now, but I just really thought, that's fame, they're so cool. And there's nothing wrong with thinking that people on the internet are cool. I think it's really flattering and it's really nice to look up to other people. That's the beauty of YouTube. Like, you can meet people that you can relate to and that have a similar journey to you and you can admire them. But just don't let that get in the way of like thinking that you could also do it, because you can. You totally can. You don't have to be a fan forever. You could be a creator as well as a fan. Now that you know the reasons why the vast majority of YouTube channels fail, you're going to want to know some tactics and strategies for staying consistent on YouTube, because that is really one of the key things that sets people who quit or run into some of these issues apart from people who succeed. So if you want to know how I stay consistent with my YouTube channel, I made a video all about it, so make sure you check that one out next. And also, like I mentioned before, if you are struggling to keep up with your editing or you want some strategic guidance, my team at Creatorly Media would love to work with you. We're currently accepting new YouTube clients, so you can check out all of the details about that in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are having adventures and following your dreams and enjoying your iced coffee, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!